Hi, it's Katie and it's nap time, and today I'm going to answer questions that I got on a previous video. There was one comment with a bunch of questions asking about my cameras and my editing software and the kind of equipment I use to make my YouTube videos. And I'm not an expert on any of these topics, but I'm happy to share the information that I have. I had a lot of these same questions when I first started, and I was looking for sort of a cut and dry answer so that I had a starting point, but there's no cut and dry answer because there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this. So I'm just going to show you what I've used in the past and what I use now. When I first started, I didn't want to invest any money at all, and I think that's pretty universal. You don't want to dump a bunch of money into something, especially when you're just starting out. So a lot of people will use their cell phones. Most smartphones have pretty decent cameras in them, and there's even apps where you can edit the videos right on your phone. I don't have a smartphone, and my cell phone is about 10 years old and doesn't take videos, so that wasn't an option for me. So the cameras that I had at my disposal, I had a webcam on my laptop, and that would have been fine if I just wanted to sit and talk to the video or talk to the camera like I'm doing in this video, but it wouldn't work for a lot of the videos I wanted to do, like cooking tutorials and craft tutorials and things like that. The next option I had was this point and shoot camera. This is a Canon PowerShot SD1000 Digital ELPH. This is what a lot of people will call a vlogging camera because it's just lightweight and portable and easy to use. And it's a camera made to take photographs, but it just happens to have a video function, and there's a microphone so it will pick up the audio as well. This is actually a pretty decent camera for vlogging, but what I didn't like about it was that the audio is not exactly perfect. I think that the PowerShot ELPH is a pretty commonly used camera here on YouTube. I think maybe a different model might have a better audio quality. But this is an option, especially if you're doing cooking videos and you're going to do voiceovers, then the audio doesn't really matter. I'll insert a clip of what this looks like, of how this looks when you film on a camera like this. So this is just a clip to show how the video and the audio quality of the point and shoot camera look. The next camera at my disposal was this. This is a DSLR. This is a Canon EOS Rebel T3. And this is it's a pretty pricey camera, and it's a pretty big kind of bulky camera, so you couldn't take this out and about as a vlogging camera. I did do my first day in the life with this camera, and it was a pain in the butt. But a lot of YouTubers will use this kind of camera, especially if it's mounted on a tripod and they're filming something stationary. So whether they're filming themselves or something else, if the camera is stationary and the subject is stationary, it works really well. So sit down videos or like makeup tutorials, a lot of YouTubers will use a DSLR. It takes excellent HD video, and the audio was just a little bit better than the point and shoot camera. So I ended up using this camera for about 9 or 10 months, and this is the only camera that I had for the first half of my channel so far. A lot of YouTubers will use the Canon Rebel T5, so a model that's a little bit more advanced than this one, or a Nikon D3000 I think is a comparable camera. So that's one tip. If you're looking at cameras, look at the competitors. There's usually a very similar camera on another brand. So if you see a camera you like, check the other brand, you might get a better price. So this camera, like I said, it took HD quality video, and the audio was just a little bit better than the point and shoot, so this is what I used. I'll insert a clip of how this looks, but this is how all of my videos, my first probably 100 videos, looked in this camera. So this is just a clip to show the video and audio quality of the DSLR camera. And this camera worked really well for me. It has 3 pretty significant drawbacks. The biggest drawback, number 1, is that it doesn't autofocus while you're filming. So you can focus it, and like I said, if it's stationary and the subject is stationary, it's fine. But as soon as one or the other of those things move, it'll come out of focus very easily. And to get it back in focus, you can either hit the autofocus button and you'll hear this sound. So you'll hear that sound, and you'll also see the picture jump as it's finding focus. And that can be kind of annoying while you're trying to film. You can also put it on manual focus and just turn this. So for very fine focusing, you can do that. And I did do quite a bit of that, sort of fine manual focusing. Another big drawback about this camera is although the audio is a little bit better than the point and shoot camera, it's still not great. So any onboard mic's not going to be as good as an external microphone, mainly because the microphone is right here. So you have to be facing the camera, you have to be pretty close to the camera, and if you turn your head, the audio quality will suffer quite a bit. And there's no way to plug in an external microphone into this model. I'm not sure if other DSLRs have that function, but this one doesn't. The third big drawback to this camera that I found is that the viewfinder's on the back, and unless I'm looking through the back of the camera, I can't see what the camera's picking up. So if I wanted to have this filming my face, I can't see if I'm in frame or in focus or anything. Now some DSLRs will have this where it flips out where you can see it, but this model I had didn't. So those are the three things that I was looking for when I wanted to upgrade my camera. I don't really consider it an upgrade because this camera costs like 3 times as much as my new camera, but the quality that I was looking for in a new camera, I wanted to address those 3 issues. And originally I was going to get another point and shoot and get one that had better audio quality or that I could plug in an external mic. But what I found was, because this camera and also this camera, these are made to take photographs, and they just happen to have video functions on them. So all of the technology that goes into these sort of cameras is for the picture taking and not so much for the video function. And what I found was, for my money, I could get a better camera with better video functionality if it was something that was designed specifically to take video. So what I ended up getting was a camcorder. So I'm going to switch to my DSLR and film the rest of the video on this camera so that you can see my camcorder. Okay, so I'm now filming on my DSLR. I have no idea if I'm in frame or in focus. I'm going to try to make this work. So I'm filming on my DSLR so I can show you my camcorder. And this is a Canon Vixia HF R500. And there's a lot of different models in the same Vixia line. They go from this as sort of a base level, like home use model, all the way up to professional cameras that cost thousands of dollars. This had all of the 3 things that I was looking for in a camera. It has an autofocus, so as I'm filming it will autofocus, and it does a really good job of it. If you've ever watched a vlog and the person starts the clip and it's just like this slow, painful, gradual coming into focus that can take up to like 8 or 10 seconds, that's the difference between using a camera that's meant for photographs, it just happens to have a video function, and a camera that's made to take video. So the autofocus is very quick on this camera. And sometimes you can see it flicker just a little bit, but it's never like those long, painful, drawn out coming into focus. So it autofocuses really nicely. It has a place here where I can plug in an external microphone, and an external microphone, a cheap external microphone is always going to be better than an onboard mic on the camera, because you can put it right where you need for the source that you want to pick up, and it doesn't pick up all of the other ambient noise, and you don't have to be facing the camera. And this is the microphone that I use. I will talk about this in just a minute in the accessories portion of this video. But this was very cheap. I got it on Amazon for like $25 or something like that, and it really helps make my videos that much easier to hear. So autofocus, external microphone plug-in, and then the viewfinder. So this has a viewfinder. I can look through the viewfinder. It's a big 3-inch touch screen, LCD touch screen. So I can look through this whenever I'm filming something, but if I'm what's being filmed, I can turn this. You can see it turns like this, and then it stops anywhere in between. So if I'm filming something that I'm cooking, a lot of times I'll have this pointed down to my countertop. I can turn this like this so that I can see very well. And there's not many places that I can be in relation to the camera where I couldn't see what's going on in the viewfinder. So I really like that fold back viewfinder. This camera usually retails for I think around $300. I think a newer 600 model has come out in the meantime, and I think it's dropped the price a little bit. I think this is now $269 on Amazon. I'll link it down below so you can see the exact model that I'm talking about. But I got this on a Black Friday sale. I got it from Best Buy, and I think it was $169. I paid $180 out the door, taxes and everything. So $180, it came with the camera, the battery, the charging cable, all of those basic accessories, and then it also came with a 32 gigabyte SD card. So that's the the memory card that goes into the camera so you can transfer clips from the camera into your computer. There are other Vixia models that have onboard memory, and then you'd use a cable to take the clips off the camera onto your computer. And then there's some that have Wi-Fi where you could wirelessly send it to your computer from the camera. This is a very basic model, so it just uses these sort of universal memory cards. So now I'm going to switch back to this camera because it's so much easier to use. I'll tell you about the accessories and then my software. So before I put the camera back on the tripod, I'll just show you the tripod. And this is a pretty basic model. I actually got this at Goodwill. I think it was like $5 or something. But you can get really cheap tripods, and they work pretty well. There's not much that you need a tripod to do except for hold your camera up. So if you find one on Amazon for like $15, that would probably suit you just well. So they're pretty universal. They fit most cameras. They have this part here. This part you attach to the bottom of your camera. So this would screw in. Most cameras have this. This is the bottom of my DSLR. So it screws right in there, in that hole. And then you could just attach this here. And it just clips in like that. And that way you can remove your camera quickly and easily. And this would stay attached to your camera. So you can put it on the tripod when you want and take it off the tripod. And then this has telescoping legs, so it can make it taller or shorter. And then this part also can become taller or shorter. And depending on how you adjust this, you can tilt it down like that so your camera is pointing down, and then this one makes it tilt this way and that way. So there's not much to a tripod, pretty simple, and a cheap one will serve your purposes very well. So pretty much the only other accessory that I use is the microphone. This is just a clip-on one that you would put on your lapel like you see on news programs and things like that. I use this, I do clip it onto my shirt. It makes it really easy if I'm doing a video where I'm going to be facing away from the camera a lot, so when I'm working in my garden, or it worked really well in the video where I washed my cloth diapers in the bathtub because I was turning my back to the camera and you can still very clearly hear. So you can put this right where you need the sound to pick up, and it does a really good job cutting down the background noise. So something like this is really good for cooking videos where you don't want to have all of the sounds of the sizzling on your stovetop and things like that. This will pick up your voice a lot better than the onboard mic. The onboard mic is going to pick up everything equally, whereas this will pick up whatever you point it at. I will link this one down below. I got this on Amazon. I think it was like $25. But you want to get one that's omnidirectional. So as long as it's close to me, even if it's pointing away, it still will pick up the sound pretty well. And this normally comes with one of those foam windscreens. I lost mine, but that also helps keep down like the wind blowing into it. So I'm going to take the microphone off. You can hear the difference. So now it's just being picked up on the onboard mic on the camera. So I'm pretty close to this microphone and I'm facing it, so the sound is still pretty good. But if I were to turn around like this, you wouldn't be able to hear me as well. So I'll plug the microphone back in and I'll do that again. So let's see. My cord is all tangled up. I don't do a very good job of keeping this untangled. But I'll just do that same thing where I turn around so my back is facing the camera and you can still hear me very clearly. So this clips onto your shirt or whatever, but I also use this all the time, or most of the time, even when I'm very close to the camera. I just clip it onto the little hand strap of the camera, and it just does a really good job picking up my voice and not all of the other sounds. So you get a nice clear sound of my voice. So I'll clip that right here. So that's pretty much all the equipment that I use. I don't use any lighting equipment. I'm not really considering it. In the future I might get it, but right now I just film in the daytime near sort of a bright sunny window. You don't want direct sunlight coming in onto what you're filming, but you want it to be nice and bright and sunny. It's actually pretty overcast today, so I'm not sure if you can tell a difference in the lighting, but those are the accessories that I use. As far as video editing software, most computers come with a program preloaded, pre-installed on the machine. So if you have a Windows machine, a PC, that would be Windows Movie Maker. I was running a Linux operating system, so I was using OpenShot. These are free programs, so if your computer doesn't have them already, you can download them for free. I will say that you have to have a computer that has enough processing power to run these programs. They are very resource heavy, and if you have an older computer, it will get bogged down and freeze pretty easily. and that's the problem that I was having. I was actually using a netbook, so it wasn't even a true laptop. It's just meant to surf the internet. It's not meant to run these heavy-duty programs, and it was freezing a lot and shutting down a lot. So I did get a new computer, and when I got a new computer, it had a trial offer of PowerDirector 13. And I liked the free trial offer. There was a few things that I wanted to do that the free version didn't have, and I did end up purchasing that video editing software. I purchased mine through the trial offer, and it was around $50. If you purchase it directly from PowerDirector's website, I think it's like $75, $85, $90, depending on the promotions they have going on. So I don't know if there's a way to get that $50 price without the free trial. But it's something to look into. And that program, I really liked it. I had already had experience with the free program, so I kind of understood how you drag and drop your clips and how you do basic editing functions. There's a lot that I did have to learn when I started using it, and there's so many tutorials on YouTube, especially for PowerDirector 13, because it is one of the most popular video editing softwares, that if there's something that I came across that I didn't know how to do or that I was having a problem with, and just do a search on YouTube or on Google, and tutorials will come up and explain how to do them. So pretty simple, pretty user-friendly, but of course I did have to reach out for help, and I still have to reach out for help for it. I was going to try to bring up your questions to make sure I answered all of your questions, but YouTube has eaten your comment. That's something about YouTube, is things will change suddenly without warning, without explanation. YouTube glitches an incredible amount. For as big and powerful of a website it is, it glitches all the time. So I can't find the comment. So hopefully I've answered all of your questions. I think you had asked if I took any classes. I've never taken any classes. Like I said, I watch tutorials on YouTube to learn how to do things. I do watch a few channels. One channel is called Video Creators, and they have a lot of tips for people. It's like a YouTube channel to help you make your YouTube channel better. So I always am on the lookout for tips and tricks and things like that. I pretty much have just learned everything as I do it. You can't learn this without actually doing it. So those are all the tips that I have. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments down below. And I wish I could bring up your questions because you were asking other things. As far as uploading them on YouTube, up on the top, on pretty much every page, whether you're watching this video or you're on any other page, it should say upload, and you click that, it'll bring up the whole upload thing, and it's pretty simple. You just drag and drop, and like I said, you just kind of have to do it. And once you get your first video and your first video uploaded, it's gonna be terrible. Everybody's first videos are terrible, and it's perfectly fine. You have to just start and make your first video and just pick one thing that you want to improve, figure out how to improve that one thing, and then your next video is going to be that much better. So if you have just started making YouTube videos, once you get your first video, link it down in the comments down below. I would be happy to give you a view. I'll leave you a comment on your video if you want, just so that you can kind of get an idea of how this all works. So like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm happy to help in any way that I can, and I hope that I answered all of your questions. So I will talk to you again soon. Bye!